Hi there. My name is Courtney, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to 826 Michigan's Writing Challenge.
Excuse me, Courtney, who's writing challenge?
Well, it doesn't matter what time it is or where I am. Dr. Blotch, pardon me, it is Dr. Blotch's Writing Challenge. I mean to welcome you all to this week, friend.
Audience, I, as Courtney has said, am Dr. W. Blotch, otherwise known as the first Dr. Blotch's great uncle's cousin, and I've come up with quite a marvelous discovery.
Pardon me. What exactly have you discovered, Dr. Blotch?
Thanks for asking. Now, Courtney, have you ever heard of this thing? How do you say it? Comics?
Oh, yes. I actually love comics. I've got a ton over here.
You
just
say
beside
that like
me.
the medium is so common, Courtney. So anyway, I was reading the Antarctica Times newspaper yesterday morning with a piping hot cup of earwax tea. I decided that since I'll be living down here in my Antarctica mansion for a while, social distancing and all that, I might as well stay up on the local news. You know, local interest stories, weather reports, penguin sightings, and all that. So I subscribed to the newspaper. And do you know what they had on the third page?
This is a wild guess.
That's
but
precisely
I would say
right. Comics. I've never seen such a thing before. I have PhDs in 7 different subjects, so I've seen quite a lot of things in this world, but I've never before seen pictures and writing come together to tell a story in this way. You know what, Courtney? I want to read more of these. They're more delightful than an anchovy pocket lint and Brussels sprout smoothie.
Oh, that sounds scrumptious to you. But, wow. For this week's writing challenge, is it that you want our writers to create comics?
Precisely. But Courtney, the writers should be strategic about it. There are 3 things in particular that I love about comics. The first technique I'd like to see them use involves faces. Writers can use characters' facial expressions to help tell the story. When the character is feeling surprised, you can make them have raised eyebrows. If they are feeling sad, they can have a frown. When you're writing a novel or a poem or whatnot, you have to use words to tell the reader about the character's emotions. But with a comic, writers can use pictures to help tell the story. They don't have to do it all with words.
I love it, and I totally understand. I think this is what I've got in my head. You're saying, if I'm writing about a triceratops who just found out that she can't go to her favorite band's concert, I'll show her with a beak-like mouth, frowning, and big eyes that maybe have some water in them. Tears.
Indubitably. Now, Courtney, the second technique that writers should use is a panel. Okay. That's a box in the world of comics that shows a whole scene before the scene begins. Instead of telling readers that you're in a particular scene, you can show them the whole scene before you show them what happens there.
Okay, that makes sense too. So if my Triceratops character, we'll call her Sparkles, is crying in her dinosaur castle, I should begin the scene with a panel that shows the whole castle to let my readers know that that's where Sparkles is when she gets her bad news.
Indeed. Okay. Now, the third and final technique I'd like to see, and this is a very common one, is speech bubbles to show that a character is talking, or captions to show a narrator's words. And writers should remember that they don't have to put everything in words like in a traditional story. Comics are pictures and words creating a story together.
Okay, I totally get it. So something like this.
You nailed it! Now, writers should be on the lookout for my comic planner, which will help them think through their characters and their story's problem and solution before they begin writing. And I'll also make sure that Megan sends along some comic paper so they can print it out if they'd like. But writers can also make their own by drawing simple boxes and rectangles on a piece of paper.
Okay, well, I promise we're on it, Dr. Blotch.
Yes, all right. Talk soon. Goodbye.
Talk soon. All right, friends.